The gentleman who you're about to meet, Commander Bradley Smith, is on a beeline for heaven. He definitely spent his time in hell here in Vietnam. Ladies and gentlemen, Commander Bradley Smith.
Thank you very much. This is the third time I've had the opportunity to speak at a Vietnam Memorial Wall ceremony. Each time I'm struck by how simple elegance of the memorial wall. The Vietnam Memorial in Washington, D.C. is now 30 years old this year. When it was first proposed, the artistic drawings were released to the public. Many people said that it was not impressive enough, it was not grand enough. And one critic even said, it looks like a wall in a ditch. Well, as we can all see, it has stood the test of time. Unlike many other memorials that are closed behind fences or other obstacles, you can walk up to the Vietnam Wall. You can touch it. You can lean on it. You can take your finger and run it across the name. You can make a rubbing of a name on the wall of a lost comrade, a friend, or a family member. My feelings about the Vietnam Wall have not always been so pleasant. In the past, when I had the occasion to be in Washington, D.C., I avoided going to the Vietnam Wall. The reason I didn't go was because I was very bitter. I was not bitter about my own Vietnam experience, about the beatings, the torture, the starvation, the 7 years of what should have been the best 7 years of my life that I lost in Vietnam. I had put that behind me. I had come to terms with that. I had no fear of awakening demons by going to the wall. I was bitter about the loss of my good friends, my squadron mates, and the 58,272 other names of other people that are on that wall. At that time, I felt they had died for nothing, that our country had let them down. It took a long time for me to overcome that feeling. Some people have asked me, when did you really know, or when did you know that you were really in combat? I used to always give the glib answer, when the bullets are coming your way and you feel like you can touch them, you know you're in combat. But in all reality, the most vivid memory I have was that of our first combat loss of one of the pilots in my squadron. Jackie Prudhomme was his name. He was a Navy lieutenant. He was a close friend. I knew his wife. I knew his 2 little girls. I was the last one to see Jack alive. On the way to a target, he was hit, fell out of the formation. I rolled my airplane inverted, and I saw Jack's airplane hit the side of a mountain and explode with all the bombs and fuel on board. Jack, that guy that I had just an hour before joked with as we were getting ready for our mission, was gone forever. Even in the heart of combat, you sometimes have a feeling that what just happened, that moment, that memory, whatever it may be, is something that will last the rest of your life. I had one of those moments at that time. We didn't use the word or didn't know the word surreal at that time, but I guess that's what it's called today. A short time later, I lost someone even closer to me, my roommate, Don Mac McLaughlin, on a mission over South Vietnam. Don was a great guy. He was a Naval Academy graduate. He was an All-American soccer player. He had all the world to live for. But I had the sad task of packing up his personal belongings to be sent home to his family. At that time of the war, this is 1965-66, we were losing about 1 out of every 6 or 7 pilots either killed or captured in Vietnam. This was early in the war, and so there were many, many more to follow on. I have a lot of friends and a lot of acquaintances whose names appear on that wall. When I left for Vietnam in October of 1965, until I came home in February 1973, some 7.5 years later, many things had changed in the United States, particularly the feelings about the Vietnam War. When I left for Vietnam in 1965, very few people even knew where Vietnam was on the map or on the globe, and even few cared and most cared less. By the time I came home in '73, the Vietnam War had caused the largest rift split in the United Nations, in the United States, since that of the Civil War. We POWs, as we were returned, were treated like heroes. Yes, we had done our duty under difficult circumstances. We had lived up to our code, and we returned with honor. But I never considered myself to be a hero. The heroes are those gentlemen and ladies. We came home as heroes, but unfortunately, many did not. Some of those who came home were spit upon. Some called all sorts of vile names. Some took their uniforms off and threw them in a closet and tried to forget the whole damn thing. Some never could forget and lived and sometimes died as broken men. With the passage of time, our nation has realized that the servicemen and women who serve this country do not make the policies, they do not make the plans, they simply carry out their duty with courage and carry out the lawful orders of their superiors. It has been this way since the founding of our country and will continue. Today, many of those opposed to some of our military actions have the common sense to make it known that even though they may oppose whatever war or military action we are currently involved in, that they still support their troops, our troops, as it should be. I personally want to welcome home all Vietnam veterans and give you a thanks for a job well done. Can we see a hand of Vietnam veterans? Thank you. I credit the traveling Vietnam Wall we have here, in large part for the healing that this country has been able to accomplish over the years, over the split of Vietnam. It is there to honor those who fell in Vietnam, each and every one, and to recognize the service of all Vietnam veterans who served with honor. Nearly 20 years ago, I read an article in a actually in a magazine, and it was written by a former Army medic who had recently returned. When I think about my friends that are memorialized on that wall, I no longer think about the circumstances of their death. 45 plus years have passed and my hair has turned gray during the time. But I will always remember them as young men, full of life, with whom I may have shared a joke, a cup of coffee, a laugh, or just enjoyed their company. I remember them for their spirit, for their love of their country, and for their dedication to duty and to their buddies. All combat veterans know that in a heat of battle, you're not fighting for the American flag, although you love it. You're not fighting for apple pie. You're fighting for your buddy next to you in the foxhole. As you look upon this wall, realize that every one of these persons whose names are memorialized here, they gave all, and they deserve to be remembered and honored by all Americans. Thank you.